So you want to be a YouTuber. What does it take to be a YouTuber? Let's check it out.
Hey, Vern.
Hey! All right, so I've been YouTubing for about 2 years now, and I have a lot of things that have gone through my mind that you would want to know if you were to start YouTubing. Now, I met with a viewer yesterday, and I had a really good time. And one thing that he brought up was that a lot of these young kids, their dream job is to be a YouTuber. So I thought, yeah, I want to speak to those people today, and to the other people that are just thinking, yeah, do I want to do YouTube? I don't know. So here is my insight from the experiences I've gained, from the things I've noticed from other YouTubers, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what to do and what not to do. So let's get started. So the first thing is your channel name. Does it really matter what your channel name is? Yes and no. I would say it's not as important as the content. If you can have a channel called Mr. Beast and have it be as successful as it is, I would say that channel name is not so important. The thing that is important is your content. Content is king. So how do you find a valuable content that is valuable to somebody else? You find something's valuable to you, and then your passion through that content will draw your audience. Just try not to choose something that is trending because somebody else likes it, because eventually you won't end up staying in that niche. You'll end up burning out and not enjoying it. So if I had a really, really good tip, it would be do not game the audience. Do not game the algorithm. Don't game anything. Be yourself, be genuine. If you try to cheat the system to be somebody you're not, or to try to gain what you shouldn't have at that time, chances are you're going to end up with a big zero. Now, I know people that had rose their channels up by gaming the system, and most of them ended up paying the price. So their channels may have grown really fast, and then everything was figured out that they weren't legit, and everything come crashing down, and now their channels are kind of dead. So don't do that, okay? Don't do that. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. You would be better off taking the time to grow slow, to be a genuine channel that has a connectable audience over time, and to be known for that, than you would to try to rise up high and quick, because it's all going to come crashing down. Then all that effort, all your time will be wasted for naught. The best thing that you could do is to define your niche into a really pointed category, pointing right to that one. So for example, you have cooking, all right? And you define it even more. Cooking what? Cooking soup. Cooking what kind of soup? Cooking Italian soup. Cooking Italian soup in your kitchen. Cooking Italian soup on a stove. Cooking Italian soup at a campsite. Just keep niching it down until you get it so defined that there isn't a lot of competition, because the competition is very big when your audience is broad on your topic. There's a guy that makes sauce. That's all he does, is make a sauce. And he's known, and his channel has grown very fast for making a sauce. But the drawback to that is you better like making sauce every day, because people will know you for that one specific niche, and you're not going to really be allowed to deviate outside sauce. You're not going to be able to make spaghetti unless it includes sauce or something else. So try to define your niche and stay in that niche if you want to get known and if you want to grow fast. But be prepared. People are going to expect you to be in that niche. They're not going to like it if you're doing sauce and playing guitar. If all of a sudden your niche focuses over to the guitar playing and less of the sauce, you're going to lose a huge part of your audience. And you better enjoy making sauce, because that's what they've come for. So that's why I say do something you really love. Otherwise, it's not going to work for long. You can start with low-end gear, because remember, content is king. The gear isn't as important. But the other thing is, if your gear is low-budget gear and your content is easily copyable, then you're not going to stay at the top very long. So here's the thing. You've got two trains of thought. If you have good gear versus bad gear, which one is most important? So always remember this, your content is king, okay? So you can put out good content with bad quality and still get an audience. But if you put out the same content with good gear, you're going to gain even more audience. You're going to be more respected. You're going to probably, in the end, have less competition because not everybody's going to invest in the good gear. Not everybody's going to invest in a really good skill set because people are lazy. They want to do the path of least resistance to build their channel. So if you're willing to invest in good gear, in improving your skills, and improving your content, there's going to be a lot less competition over time. So YouTube is a growth process. It's not 3 steps to this point and you're done. It's always a climb, always a climb. You're always pushing yourself. You're always trying to get better. At least that's what you should be doing. You're always trying to find new things to pull in to give back. And so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. So in the beginning, be prepared to work for nothing. Really nothing. You're going to spend all this money on at least some kind of gear. And if you're improving, and you're supposed to be improving and buying better gear so you have less competition, you're going to be even working more for free for a while. And how long is that? Well, I would say a minimum of probably 2 years before you start to make a little bit of money. Just a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. Your existence, your climb is really at the mercy of 1 or 2 videos taking off. And when will that happen? Could happen anytime. It could happen in years down the road. It's not something that is predictable. The thing is just to work hard and not worry about where you're at, because everybody climbs at a different rate. There are many channels that have needed content, but they have a low ceiling of how far they can climb. They can't climb much higher than maybe halfway compared to the ceiling that is very high for other channels that can climb higher and higher and end up making more money in the end, in the long term. Some channels, when they make content, the content is only valuable for a season. And others make content that is called Evergreen Content. It will be valuable for a long ways out. It's something that people will enjoy watching. It's not a needed bit of information that only has a limited duration. So if I told you today that Bangkok is easing a restriction, that's information that's important now, but 10 years down the line, people probably aren't going to watch that video for that information. So try to make things that are of a value for a long-term projection. And in the end, that will be the evergreen content that will keep you going. So when I started my channel, I started out as a photography channel, and I really had no way to promote my channel. I didn't know how to promote a channel. So I decided when I was in lockdown and I couldn't do much photography to start on an area that I knew that I was at. I was living in the Philippines, so I started making it into a Philippines channel. And I started doing content that was needed at the time for people that would be interesting. And I realized that the ceiling for that was pretty low. You could only climb so high. Now, over time, I needed to leave the Philippines, so I made a travel channel. Now, the ceiling for that is almost unlimited. You could go as high as you want, but the problem is there's so much competition that the climb is so slow. It takes such a long time to gain the audience that wants your broad content. And that's why I tell you, if you really want to do good on YouTube and you want to succeed fast, niche it down as tightly as you can, but be prepared, because you could be niched down so much doing something that's so defined that in a short time you're sick of it. You don't want to do it because it's not enjoyable to do the same thing over and over. That's like a job, right? You're going to a job. I turn this nut and bolt this day. I turn this nut and bolt this day. I turn this nut and bolt, you know. You see the thing? That's what it's like if you're too niche down. So you better really love what you do. Otherwise that niche is gonna get old really quick. So to kind of sum it up, pick a broad category that gives you options, that doesn't lock you into one thing. And be prepared for the long haul, to work your butt off and to not get successful very fast. So that is my strategy for the long term. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into such a fine niche that in a short time I'm maxed out, I'm out of content, and I don't like doing what I do. So broaden it out, prepare to work your butt off, and be into it for the long term. And I think that's the best overall advice. You could do a channel to niche down, to get your core audience and then base out. But I tell you what, it's still going to take a long time to build a broad audience for a broad audience type channel. Because when you make your videos, like for example, right now I'm in Thailand. If I make a Thailand video, I've been in Thailand since July. Where I was before, I was in Serbia. They're feeding my Thailand videos to the people in Serbia. So that's where it takes a long time. If they fed the Thailand videos to the people that really want to see Thailand, then it would take off. But what I'm finding is it's taking months before they'll feed that next bit of content to the next audience. So it might take another 2 months before they start promoting my Thailand videos to the people in Thailand and not so much to the people in Serbia. So it's really crazy how the algorithm works and how being a broad channel is promoted and how hard it is to gain the audience that wants a broad spectrum. Some people might watch your channel just for one part of your niche, and then they might not watch it for a long time, and they might just kind of poke in every once in a while. And I get that too, and that's okay. I'm kind of the same way. If I look at a channel, I'll pick out things that I'm interested in, and I just won't watch the other parts. I think that's pretty normal. But if the content was good enough in the beginning, and if it was of an evergreen type content, chances are I will come back. I will come back. Even if there's something that I'm not that interested in, I like that style of content, or I connect to that creator, and so I go back for that. So the best thing I can say is be yourself. Be yourself on camera, be yourself off camera. Just try to be as similar as you can to who you are. Don't try to game the system. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to get what you don't deserve by gaming the system in ways that you shouldn't to get views, to get other people to watch, because in the end, you're gonna fail, you're gonna lose out. I met a guy once that told me that he was creating fake drama for his channel, but he was coming off as being totally honest and sincere as a person, and I didn't identify with that, and I really thought, you're really disingenuine, and if your viewers pick up on that, it could kill your channel. It could just ruin your character because you're trying to get something that you don't deserve, that isn't yours to have at that time. And usually there's always a price for that. So always be honest and grow as the opportunity comes. The right doors will open when they're supposed to open, okay? And go through every door you can. If you don't like what's on the other side of the door, close the door and go back and find a new door. So it's taken me 2 years to gain this information. 2 years of hard work, 2 years of my investment, 2 years of watching other YouTubers, watching probably 10 to 15 years of YouTube videos to try to see what's happening, what's going on, and then to connect to other YouTubers. And it's a process, and if you take it in a logical fashion, you'll grow. You will grow. It is a business, and it is an opportunity. And if you look at it as a business, and if you take the opportunity and just keep climbing and working at it and building a skill set that makes you of a value, your content will reflect that. Be consistent. If you're going to do a daily video, do a daily video. That's what people are going to expect. If you're going to do a video once a week, do it once a week. But don't expect to be climbing fast by putting out a video here, maybe a video there, next 3 months a video here, because it just isn't going to work that way. YouTube cannot find your audience. They can't connect it to anything. There are a few people that did get lucky putting out maybe 10 videos and they walked away and their channel took off somehow. It happened. It happens. But it's not the norm. There's so many YouTubers and everybody wants to get ahead easily without doing any work. But that's just not how it normally works. So I'm not going to sell you on that bubble. I'm not going to sell you on an imaginary fairy tale. You got to work hard in life. If you want to feel good, you got to work hard. You got to put in the time. So that's pretty much all I got, you guys. And I hope that helped somebody. I hope I connected to you guys and I showed you a little bit of an insight into some of the things that I think of when I'm making my channel. Okay, thanks guys.
Hey, 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 Vern.